Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you to Neptune for welcoming us today. My name is Pedro. I'm a partner at Deloitte. I'm joined by António, who will do most of the talking, who is a manager out of Deloitte. We've been working, and we work at sort of enabling and helping customers or our clients through business and digital transformations, mostly enabled for SAP. And over the past 3 years, also working with Neptune to accelerate, innovate, and improve collaboration of the client solutions or the solutions that we deliver for our clients. So when I share with you topics like innovation, disruption, agility, what's the first subject matter that comes to mind? The only answer for that is finance. So we've been sort of in the previous presentations, obviously sharing a lot how Neptune has enabled sales reps, marketing reps, people on operations to accelerate the way they engage to clients and consumers. But obviously, at some point, all of that needs to be triggered back until the back office. So those people that you may know that sit usually in the basement of your nice office buildings while doing all the treasury and accounting. And because we're from Deloitte, let's say give a heart out for those people. Yeah. We're expecting a stronger clap, especially for the treasury guys, but yeah, because in the end they do pay your salaries, you know. So obviously the world is changing. I think processes, time to markets are shortening, processes are becoming more digital. We need to be more responsive to the market, to customer needs, and obviously that applies also to finance. And we see, and obviously we feel that the way the collaboration across especially company or large companies with fairly centralized, increasingly nearshored or offshore back office areas and service systems need to be improved, need to be accelerated. The agility that you have with your consumer, whether it's issuing an invoice, a credit note, payment request, whether it's with customers or vendors, needs to be an effect or has an effect on back office areas. How many of us have submitted an expense report, a credit note submission, and then it goes to a black box within Treasury accounting where eventually it comes back. So we've been working over the past months, or sort of close to a year, on digital Neptune-enabled asset. We call it FinDesk, which is used by across the company, but mostly as a collaboration tool between business units, whether it's in sales, marketing, operations, logistics, whatever, and sort of finance, mostly finance operations, mostly treasury and accounting. So basically, FinDesk is mostly a platform that performs the centralized management of company-wide interactions with business users, and António will show a few of the use cases that we already developed, and it's currently live, being used by clients and by, I would say, hundreds of business users with centralized management by Treasury accounting. So it enables, obviously, when you think of sort of Treasury accounting, the key sort of KPIs are automation, efficiency, speed, agility, and also to support the digitalization of the business itself. So we are using a Neptune, a solution that was developed in Neptune, in P8, fully integrated with back office, mostly with SAP, to provide sort of the seamless interaction and integration of business users' requests, which are relevant and then processed by Treasury and accounting. So what does this basically provide? It provides sort of obviously user-friendly and sort of seamless user interface for Treasury and accounting, which they also deserve it. Obviously, scalable. It's scalable because it allows, with minimum intervention by the IT, to scale it both in terms of size of what is being used and also for new functionality, for new forms, new uses. It is fairly configurable. It's mostly managed by a number of super users within that sit within finance, so with minimum involvement by IT. It obviously automates and enables the definition of predefined rules, workflows that are able to sort of trickle across the organization with full traceability, full visibility by the whole organization, and sort of centralized documentation paper trace as well. It also enables, and that's something we've also been working on, sort of to be able to manage centrally SLAs and also pricing, because I think it's important that all of this has sort of visibility of the costs, even internal costs that might have within organization. So the way it's been built, and I won't go too deep in terms of architecture, but obviously sort of it is sort of a single point of usage or a single platform that provides sort of a user experience for all engaged users, whether it's business users across the organization or treasury and accounting teams. Obviously, very flexible form configuration. Super users have the power and the ability to change and to change the rules, change the forms, change the views. We've talked about API abstraction layer that allows business users to engage with some sort of fairly complex financial processes, but without having the complexity, both in terms of user interface and rules around it. Obviously, very configurable workflow, seamless SAP integration. Like you know, in P8, it's mostly like using an SAP add-on. So all the data, all the rules, all the views resides, in this case, in SAP. And it's obviously scalable for new processes and with minimum intervention by IT. Okay, and I'll pass now to António, who's going to talk you a bit more in detail about what he does. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Pedro. So I'll go now into some details about our solution and this use case. So as Pedro mentioned, basically our objective here is to close the gap between the end users, so the whole organization, and the accounting and treasury teams. And to do that, we are delivering a user-friendly interface, and that's the first topic or the first key attribute of our application. And basically, we collect or we group the apps in 3 different kinds. So the request application, the approval process of that request, and the configurations. Because one of the key aspects of this solution is the centralization, but to ensure the key users or the end user from accounting and treasury teams are fully independent on the management of this solution. And that's also a part of our business case. So, starting with request application, and we have here some screens about that. So basically, the idea and one of the key advantages that we have is the level of integration into the back-end system. So what we are trying to show here, it's the level of the information that we have that comes directly from the back-end S4HANA system. So imagine as simple as selecting a vendor or an open item to request a payment. It's something that is fully integrated, and an end user that is creating requests in FinDesk, it's fully integrated. You don't have any kind of non-synchronous process with this front-end solution. The other great advantage is, of course, the default values that we have. So we don't need to have the same complexity as we have in a back-end system, and it's completely different from the end user without experience into SAP solutions, completely clear and direct to perform that request. And at last, the automatically generation of the form and the fields to submit the requests. I'll show now some examples of treasury apps that we have. This is not an exhaustive list, but we have some good examples of the impact that we are making with FinDesk solution. So for treasury teams, we have apps like payment requests, fail payment, down payment. So those are probably the most common types of payments that we are supporting now. We have also requests for confirmation, for example, a simple task as to request Treasury team to confirm if a payment was already completed or not. Usually that kind of task involves some manual workload or some manual connections with the accounting team or Treasury team. In this case, it's something that they can do directly into Findesk solution. And of course, and that's also a great impact of this solution, it's the integration level. So basically, after creating the request, after the approval process, the Treasury team just confirmed that it's okay, I agree with all the information in this request, and after that task, it's fully integrated and the payment run is automatically created in the backend system. So this is for Treasury. For accounting, we have other examples, and those are, as you know, are common tasks like accrual requests, provisions, analytical transfers. I think most of the organization have this kind of process. The same as project settlement, and I think this is also a good example because with this type of request, we can create not just the closure of the project, okay, the settlement of the project, but also the asset and the full fixed asset values. So it's a task that usually for accounting team takes like at least 10 minutes. It's direct, fully integrated. Service invoice request, it's also a good example because I don't know if some of you have experience into SAP, but even a simple task as creating a service invoice involves several steps. They need to know at least how to select some information. With this kind of request, you don't need to have any kind of background, you just need to know how to select a customer and a service number. So fully clean, fully automated and simple for an end user. And leasing contracts, so it's a complex process. If you have any context about the IFRS 16 requirements, this is also a good example because you don't need to know all of this because it's fully integrated and comes directly to S4HANA backend system. So, manage and approve requests. This is a good topic for us also because, as you know, the end users create requests, but they need to have some kind of approval from the hierarchy and for the responsible for each business department. And to do that, we have this manage and approve requests, so a work list where the responsible can check and approve all of the requests that comes from business areas. We also have, and basically it's the topic that Pedro mentioned. So the key users from accounting and treasury team can fully maintain the solution. So basically select the fields that they want to show for each of the request types. So basically it's like a drag and drop. They just select the fields and submit. And the next time a user comes to the solution to create a new request, it's already dynamically and generated accordingly. Okay, this is also a good point. And we can have also, and this is the next topic, user configuration. And why this is important? Because, as you know, the teams change, they have different persons involved, and with this they can just drag and drop and say, okay, now you are not the person responsible for this kind of request, that's the other person, and they can just drag and drop and select the other users without any intervention from IT or consultants involved in the solution maintenance. So, in a nutshell, what are the key improvements or the key impacts from this solution in our clients? So, efficiency, I think that's the topic, and it is a good example of gains with Findesk solution. The control and audit trail of all the requests, as you know, this involves money, involves payments, and it's really important to have this kind of control and ensure the auditability of the whole request that comes into accounting and treasury teams. The TCO, because as you know, if you don't have the same costs of maintained users, maintained workflows, maintained request types, it's something that accounting and treasury teams could do without any kind of intervention from IT. And data quality, because the level of integration into S4HANA system, it's game changer. So we don't have that kind of problems that, okay, the information is not exactly in the system, you need to update and synchronize again. It's fully integrated in this case. And quickly set up. low code, no code, as you know, it's the message here. And this is also a good example of a quick setup. Not just in the previous clients, but even in next clients, we think we have a good solution to deliver that. So I think we have now less message. So if you have any questions, if you want to see something more about our solution, you can reach us. We are now in coffee break also. So thank you so much, and thank you Neptune Software for this invite. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.